もちろん大丈夫です。
まあいいも話は直接聞けんも入れるも。
Get the fuck up. Simon says, get the fuck up. Throw your hands in the sky. Weezer's in the back, sipping yak, y'all, what's up? Girls, rub on your titties. Yeah, I said it, rub on your titties. New York City gritty committee, pity the fool that act shitty in the midst of the calm, the witty. Y'all know the name. Pharoahe fucking Monch ain't a damn thing changed. You all up in your range of shit, inebriated. Straight from your original plan, you deviated. I alleviated the pain with long-term goals. Slip my underground loop without the gold. You sold platinum around the world, I sold wood in the hood. But when I'm in the street and shit, it's all good. Assume the motivated boom, control the game like boom. Raider rock, clock, dollars flip, tips like a way to block shots. Styles greater, let my lyrics annoy. If you holding up the wall and you're missing the point.
Hi, my name's Metavan AG, the God Slayer, and like you, still but a humble gamer. During the past little while, I've been delving into Nintendo's very own RPG juggernaut, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. One could say it is the RPG for the Switch, or so I've heard. I don't have much of a history with the series, but I've always had a deep respect for prior entries of the series. From afar, I heard about Xenoblade Chronicles 1 through showing interest in Operation Rainfall, and immediately legally sourced Xenoblade Chronicles 1 to play on my Nintendo Wii. I thoroughly enjoyed it and was taken back by just how beautiful the game was. It was dazzling stuff for the Wii. I can't tell you why I stopped playing it, but usually it's because I find something else better and more engaging to play. Whatever that means. I love RPGs, JRPGs in particular, but I'm horrible at finishing.
Teehee.
Xenoblade Chronicles X looked bloody amazing. I still haven't played it. I've been on the cusp of buying a Wii U ever since its launch, due to its alluring exclusives and the fact I would take a bullet for Nintendo. I was born and raised on the comforting teat of the Nintendo Wii. She was very dear to me. XCX looks like it might not make the jump to Switch, and I'll be devastated if it doesn't. It might just be the tipping point for myself. To splurge on a Wii U or to not splurge on a Wii U? Now that is the question. I loved the short but sweet time I spent with XC1 before I got distracted and never finished. Maybe someday I'll pick it up on the Nintendo 3DS and actually finish. I gotta stop. I was impressed how they interpreted and put their own spin on the modern RPG. If you don't know what I mean, just take a look around. RPGs have transmogrified from beyond turn-based combat, not only because we have more powerful machines, but also due to the fact that turn-based formulas haven't aged as well as we might think, and isn't as engaging as it once was. There are exceptions to this rule, of course. Other large series like Shin Megami Tensei, its spin-off Persona series, and Dragon Quest have survived, but I feel that's due more to brand recognition. That being said, they're still sensational series. But just look at the Final Fantasy series' awkward transitions from 10 onwards. You can see them attempt to spice the games up from 12 through the 13 trilogy, Type O, and the real-time Orc-fest that is 15. They simply did it so as to stay on the cutting edge of what it means to be an RPG, to remain the RPG series to play. As we've moved forward, JRPGs have become less about grinding, preparation, and strategies, and more about managing systems in a real-time situation. To summarize and generalize it all crudely, the Xenoblade Chronicles series is the most literal embodiment of this mantra, 2 especially. However, I grow weary from analytical game schlock talk. Anywho, let's talk about why I was hesitant to dive into the world of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. JRPGs tend to have Japanese influences on them. Gasp. Anime is a big influence in Japan. Gasp. Again. I'm repeating this back to you because you need to know. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has a lot of anime thrown at it and thoroughly blended through, changing the taste of the dish entirely. While I usually praise and enjoy this in my RPGs, and hell, I even made it the defining feature of my Asura's Wrath video, I sure as hell didn't like it in my Xenoblade Chronicles game, or at least I did at first. See, the first Xenoblade Chronicles game often danced and flirted with anime tropes, while appropriately keeping them at arm's length. Xenoblade Chronicles 1 exuded an air of confidence and classiness in its characters' writing and world building. It also helped that all the Brit boys and the Brit girls actually sounded pretty good delivering their lines in that iteration. Every character played their part, and they played it well. Side note, yes, I've heard about the horrendous English voice acting in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and yes, I immediately turned on Weebspeak, so I wouldn't know about these firsthand. I apologize for liking my characters with, actual character. Anyways, as I was saying before, Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and Xenoblade Chronicles X felt like they were both above and beyond the usual anime schlock, and from the brief time I spent with Xenoblade Chronicles 1, it surely was. Xenoblade Chronicles X looked like a natural extension of Xenoblade Chronicles 1, focusing more on the sci-fi aspect and making the cheeky teasers of mechs into a full-blown part of the gameplay. Someday when I can afford a Wii U and can be bothered to finish Xenoblade Chronicles 1, I will give them the respect they deserve, but for now, big titty anime girls. And this was how the West was won. I was pretty jarred when I first saw what Xenoblade Chronicles 2 looked like, and it took me some time before I had the courage to pick it up. The only reason I picked it up is because I'd just been given a big fat paycheck, and I was feeling frisky. Once I did finally dive into the game, all my worries melted away. Monolith Soft have indeed looked after the integrity of the series. The only difference being a change in art styles and a little more of an abrasive attitude towards those anime tropes. Yes, they are there, but they do not impact the integrity of the presentation. The only thing that does put a damper on the game is actually the resolution. Yes, for once I'm complaining about resolution instead of frame rate. The adaptive resolution functions, but the fact that the ceiling is 720p and a ceiling that is rarely ever met is really quite sad for my eyeballs. They weren't kidding when reviewers said it's like an upscaled RPG of old. I really want to appreciate these lush and beautiful environments, but my eye holes won't allow me. The only time the game looked indeed how it should was in handheld and from quite a distance away. And as soon as you throw this up on a monitor of any sort, it's Attack of the Vaseline. But hey, the game's got it where it counts. Likeable characters, a decent meaty story, and of course stellar and unique gameplay. Emphasis on the word unique. Although I feel like they took the modern RPG mantra of managing a bunch of systems a little too literally. Essentially, what I've been trying to say is, I saw anime and it scared me because I thought the series had sunk to that level of mediocrity. But Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is shaping up to be quite the RPG, and I look forward to seeing what lies in store for me. I particularly look forward to exploring the expansion, Torna the Golden Country, as I had a brief dabble in that also, and it would appear they've refined the combat further and made it just that bit more polished and engaging. That and Laura looks like a big old cutie. Thanks, and I guess I'll see you around, kiddo.